Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yes, we meet again. It's me, Mr. B or Mr. Bilal Banyala Amin. Today we're going to discuss about another material in English. Okay? Do you know what material will we discuss? I think you have seen the title. Yes, it is about continuous or it has another name. It's progressive tense. What is progressive? What is continuous? It is the same. Let we discuss the next page. If we discuss about continuous, we have three forms of continuous. The first one we have present continuous tense. The second one we have past continuous tense, and the last one we have future continuous tense. What are them? And what we will discuss? I think we cannot discuss all of the three forms, but today we're going to discuss only for this form, present continuous tense. Next, before we go to the formula, we go to the sentence and so on and other. The first one or the first thing that we will discuss is about the definition. Here is the definition for present continuous tense. Present continuous tense is the form of tense it is used to express an ongoing activity in the exact time in the present. I repeat, present continuous tense is the form of tense it is used to express an ongoing activity in the exact time in the present. Or I already provided you the definition in Indonesia, so you can read by yourself in here. I already typed it in Indonesia. Next, here is one example for today. The first example, I already provide you one example. It is 6 o'clock, 16 o'clock. They are discussing something right now. Which one is the present continuous tense? I think if you already know, you know. But because today you don't know yet, I just have to provide the sentence. But for the explanation, we're going to do next. But in here, already have the explanation. They start discussing something maybe in about 1 hour ago, but now it's already 6 o'clock, 16 o'clock, and they're still discussing something. So here is the function of present continuous tense. When you already start your activity, but until now, you're still doing that activity. Next, here are the formula for present continuous tense. We just like the usual, we have three basic form: the positive form in here, the negative form, and last one we have the interrogative form. If you want to make the general statement, you have to use the positive form. If you want to deny something, you use the negative form, or if you want to ask a question, you use interrogative form. The first for positive form, you have to add subject plus be. You choose one of these be, am, is, are based on the subject that you have, and then you add the verb one plus ing. And here in the blank space, you can add another object you want to add to make your sentence complete. But if you don't want to add the object, it's okay. Next, if you want to deny something, you have to use the negative form. You have to add subject, and again, you have to add to be, but make sure you choose only one based on three what we call three to be. You choose only one, and then you add not. And don't forget, you use verb one plus ing, because the main point of continuous is the verb one plus ing, and also the to be. If you don't have any to be and verb one plus ing, you cannot say that sentence is continuous. The last form, interrogative form, you add be. You can choose a bit among am, is, are plus subject, and then verb one plus ing, and then don't forget to add the question mark, because if you don't have any question mark, you cannot say your sentence is a question. And here are the example. The first example for the positive form, she is sleeping right now. We are studying today. Or if you want to deny something, she is not sleeping right now. We are not studying today. Or if you want to ask question, is she sleeping right now? Are we studying today? From the first, I'm just going to discuss or to explain the first sentence. She is sleeping right now. It means that the subject she already sleep before the conversation start. Okay, and until now we're talking about she. She is still sleep. Okay, so the activity, the sleeping activity already start before we talk, but until we start talking right now, it the subject still sleep. It also happens for the rest of the sentences. And here is the function. Actually, we have three functions for the present continuous tense. The first, to show an ongoing action at the present. Here is the basic function for the present continuous tense. For example, it is raining and I'm waiting for my brother to pick me up. And another function or another use, you can say to express about an action around that talking, around that conversation. We don't know the exact time, but it is around that time. For example, this semester Arnold is taking 5 classes. We don't know what exactly in that semester, but we know the information Arnold is taking 5 classes in this semester. And the last function, to talk about a plan that you already make sure that plan will be done in the closer time. For example, she is spending her holiday in Bangkok next week. She already planned to spend her holiday in Bangkok in next week. She already book a hotel, book a ticket, plane, and so on. So that a plan already been planned for a long time, and we already buy that ticket. So that plan will be done in soon. Here are the adverb of time. If you find one of these adverb of time, that sentences may be, or we can say 70 or 80% that sentences are a present continuous tense. We have this month, this year, this semester, this week, right now, today, at the moment, and at the present. So, based on that verb of time, we have a similar verb of time with the simple present. So, what are differences between simple present and present continuous? Here are already provide you the differences between two of the tenses. The first difference, if the simple present, it is a repeated activity, we always do that activity again and again and again, for example, your habit. But in present continuous tense, it only happen when we talk, when the conversation is start. After that, we don't know either that activity will still keep on going or not. But in simple present, it must be continue in the next conversation or in the next activity. Another difference, to express about fact, situation, or unexpected activity that cannot be changed. For example, Shala lives in Bogor. But in present continuous, to express a situation or an action for the contemporary, for it only happened in a short time. It always can be changed. But in simple present, that activity or that sentence, the meaning of that sentence cannot be changed in the long time. For example, when we said Shala lives in Bogor, we cannot say that Shala will move to another town in the short time. But in the present continuous tense, it always, because it is only a short time conversation that only happened at that exact time. And then next, the verb that cannot be used in the continuous tense. So some of the verbs you cannot add verb in after that verb. Why? I don't know why, because that is the rule. I don't know, but I can tell you what are the verbs. Okay, the first one, the verb to show an emotion or a feeling. For example, love, prefer, hate, like, appreciate, want, dislike. You cannot add the verb wing after the prefer. For example, I prefer tea than coffee. You cannot say I am preferring tea than coffee. Next, the verb to show about our part of body. For example, hear, taste, smell, and see. You cannot say the cake taste. We can say the cake tastes delicious, but you cannot say the cake is tasting delicious. It is wrong. And the verb to express a knowledge, an opinion, or a trustworthy. For example, think, believe, understand, know, and recognize. The correct one is I believe in his opinion, but you cannot say I am believing in his opinion because this one is wrong. And we also have the verb to show the owning. For example, own, have, possess, belong. The correct one, the car belongs to that bulky guy. The wrong sentence is the car is belonging to that bulky guy. The last one, the verb static verb. For example, seem, be, exist, need, and cause. You cannot say plant is needing the sun to survive, but the correct one, plant needs the sun to survive. Okay, now we will discuss about past continuous tense. But again, before we go on to the formula and also the example, you have to know the definition first. Past continuous tense has a function to tell us about an activity or an event that's still on progress in the past. The form of these tenses can be happen in the middle of the other activity, or it can be combined with other activity in the exact time together in the same time. I repeat, past continuous tense has a function to tell us about an activity or an event that's still on progress in the past, but for the form of these tenses, it can be happen in the middle of the other activity and also can be combined with other activity in the same time. Here is the formula and also the example for past continuous tense. If you want to form a positive, you have subject plus was were plus verb ing. If you want to make negative form, subject plus was were plus not plus verb ing. And if we want to ask question, was were plus subject plus verb ing. Here is the example. You have he was studying when she called. Remember what I told you before in the previous slide? The continuous or the past continuous form, it tells us about the activity that happened in the middle of other activity. Here is what I mean. You have two activity. He was studying and another activity, she called. So, when the subject he studying, the subject he still study, but the other subject called the first subject. Okay? Then, another example in the negative form. She was not studying when she called. Remember the keyword for the continuous form. You have to add to be. In here, for past tense to be, the to be's are, was, and were. Not studying. And then another keyword for the continuous form is verb ing. If you want to form the interrogative one, was plus subject plus studying. Okay? Was she studying when she called? Next. Here is the function for the past continuous tense. We have three functions. The first one, interrupted action in the past. What it means by interrupted action in the past? It is when you have the first activity that you still doing it. You are still doing it, but in the past. For example, I was watching TV when she called. It is an interrupted action. When the subject I still watching the TV, the subject she called the first subject. And another function for the past continuous tense is specific time as interruption. Beside you add another sentence for the interruption, you can add the specific time for the interruption. In here, I provide you the example for the specific time as an interruption is last night at 6 p.m. You have the specific time last night. When at last night? At 6 p.m. What happened in 6 p.m. last night? I was eating dinner. So you can add the past continuous tense. Another functions for the past continuous tense is parallel actions. When you have two subjects that do the activity in the same time. But remember, when you want to make a past continuous tense, two past continuous tense in one sentence, remember that you have different subjects. In here, you have I and also another subject he. You can say that I was studying while I was making dinner. Because in English, we cannot say one subject can do two activities at the same time. Next, past continuous tips. Okay. When we talk about past continuous tense, we use these two conjunctions. The first one conjunctions when, the second one conjunction while. In Indonesia, we can call when and while as ketika. Jadi when sama while ini bisa diartikan ketika. But remember, when the conjunction when, you can add the sentence after that in continuous or in simple. Okay. For example, I was studying when she called. It's correct. After the conjunction when, you have simple past. It's also correct if you said she called when I was studying. After the conjunction when, you use continuous form, past continuous. It's also correct. But for the conjunction while, remember, after the conjunction while, the sentence must in the past continuous form. Must in continuous form. For example, while I was studying, she called. You cannot say, I was studying while she called. It is wrong. Because after the conjunction while, it always past continuous form sentence. It always a continuous form sentence. If you want to make two past continuous tense, you can say, while I was studying, she was calling. Okay? Remember again, many students fail in here. But I think it's kind of simple because you just to remember after a while, it's in ing form. Next, future continuous tense. The definition for future continuous tense, it tells us about an ongoing activity. It is similar to present continuous tense, but the differences between present continuous tense and future continuous tense, the ongoing activity still on progress, but for tomorrow. Okay? Here is the formula for future continuous tense. In the future continuous tense form, we have two forms. The first one you add will, or you can choose add going to. All will and going to has the same meaning, but and also it can be substitute between will and going to. So you can choose whether you want to add will or you add going to. Here are the example, but I only provide you the example for will form, will, or future continuous in will form. If you want to make a positive sentence, you add subject plus will plus be plus verb ing. Because remember, for the will or models, any other models that you know, and it needs to be, you add the to be. Okay? If you want to form negative sentence, you add subject plus will plus not plus be and verb ing. And if you want to form interrogative or a question sentence, you have to add will plus subject plus be plus verb ing, and don't forget to add question mark. Here are the examples. I will be waiting for her when her plane arrives tonight. You have to add will. After will, you add be. After be, don't forget the continuous form verb 1 plus verb ing. He will not, or you can make it short, will not us won't be studying at the library tonight. So he will not see Jane when she arrives. Again, I make sure that you remember the keyword for continuous form. You add be and also verb ing. And last one, will you be attending to my party? Will you attending to my party? Next, do you have any questions? Here are the explanation for the three forms of continuous: present continuous form, past continuous form, future continuous form. If you have any question, type in the comment below and I will discuss with you. I think that's all. Thank you for your attention. Bye bye.